Yes, it's okay. Yes, yes. Yes, it's okay. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi tahirin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Continuing from Monday night's discussion, so far we've tried to establish that when Islam says what is your duty in relation to a given matter, in reality it's saying what your intentions have to be in relation to a given matter. That's where duty lies. And you are your intentions. Intentions are an immaterial reality. You are an immaterial reality. And it's intentions which elevate an individual or depress an individual's spiritual status quo. Moment to moment, action to action, depending on what your intentions are, you grow or you don't grow. But the problem was that intentions stem from within the heart. It's not a rational exercise. It depends on the status quo of your heart, how you intend, not on your brain. In proportion to the amount of tawheed your heart has incorporated, you have the capacity to intend in real terms or not. And so, if the heart is tawheed less, your intentions will be a minimum, even though rationally you may intend a lot. It's not an exercise of the brain. Now, our discussion was in relation to the present events in Gaza and what our duty has to be. The question is, what are our intentions when we see what's happening in the occupied lands of Palestine? And here we have to see what our heart is shouting out, if it's shouting out at all. It's not important what your mouth says. It's important whether what your mouth is saying is on a par with what your heart is actually relaying out. And in the day of resurrection, the hearts will open. The hearts will be recorded. And so, remember with the charity example, two people giving charity. One may be a humanitarian with no tawheed. They say, I earned this money, I did this action, this money is mine, and I'm giving it. That's their heart's response. And if their money was to be taken, they become upset. The monotheist, however, says it's all Allah's. All wealth is Allah's. It's all His. The order is Allah's. He says give charity. I'll give it. It's not mine. And even if their money is stolen, they won't get upset. They'll get their right, but they won't get upset. Here, with what's happening in the occupied lands, are we just going to act like a humanitarian and say, this is bad? It's bad for someone to get killed, for children to get killed. A kafir can attain to such a level too. But if the heart is filled with tawheed, they believe that all honor is Allah's with yaqeen. And Allah is just. With yaqeen they believe this. And the order is Allah's, and we have to go against any form of injustice. Because only Allah is just, wholly just. Whatever order there comes has to be from Him. He gives the order to fight against oppression, we do it, irrespective. And so the question is, are we satisfied or not? Are we dissatisfied with what's happening? We have to see what the heart is saying. It's easy to say, I am dissatisfied. But is the heart dissatisfied or not? Do any feelings arise within the heart or emanating from the heart, which tells one, this is wrong, we have to do something about it? Are there any actions which emanate from that tawheed which has been incorporated by the heart? And then one goes and does actions based on what one has incorporated heart-wise. This is important to have. Otherwise, a Marxist also can do many things on the outside. But our actions have to emanate from a heart which has incorporated tawheed, which has incorporated with yaqeen that Allah is all just, has incorporated with yaqeen, order is from Allah, and we obey Him and we fight against all forms of injustice. That's different to a Marxist or a humanitarian. They don't have that heart equipment. And here one has to be honest with oneself. God forbid, it's easy to say we are dissatisfied, but in reality, the heart is satisfied because they're not feeling anything in real terms and they're not doing anything. That means the heart is satisfied with what's happening. If you're not feeling anything from the heart or doing anything from the heart, you're satisfied with what's happening. You're satisfied. And then a heart which is satisfied with what's happening, their punishment is exactly the same as an Israeli who is killing and committing the genocide. Their soul, the Israeli soul, and the satisfied heart of a Muslim who is satisfied with what's happening, the soul is the same. That's important to bear in mind. It's exactly the same. In the Quran, Allah says to the Holy Prophet in chapter 3, verse 183, Qul, say, it's in relation to the Jews. It's towards the end of the verse. Say to them, Qul qad ja'akum rusulun min qabli, that there came messengers before me to you. And bil bayyanat, they came with clear signs. Wa bil ladhi qultum, they came with what you asked for. فَلَمَا قَتَلْتُمُوهُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Why did you kill them then, if you're truthful? This is the time of the Holy Messenger. The prophets like Musa and the likes of Musa, thousands of years ago. The Holy Messenger is addressing Jews. And he's saying to the Jews, why did you kill those prophets in the past? But they were in the past. These Jews are now. It's because they were satisfied. The status of their soul, of their heart, was such that they were satisfied with what their ancestors did. And it's as if they also killed the prophets of old. And this we have to be careful. It's not a rational exercise. Now, in the last 4 or 5 minutes, I've listed a number of actions that we can do. Although I don't know the environment in Tanzania very well. Some of these may not be very practical. Some may be more practical than others. The first is demonstrations and protests. It's something very important. The youth have to work with the youth around them. In the universities, be they Muslim or non-Muslim, you have to work with Christians and other denominations and set up protests and demonstrations, especially outside the embassies of these Western countries which are committing all this genocide. It's very helpful. Now, it may be illegal here, okay? In the villages, they accept it. But even here, there are some places which have held protestations and demonstrations. Try to be as active as possible. The image can compromise their agenda that they have for you. The enemy has an agenda here. Tanzania is a very important place strategically, geopolitically. It's a very sensitive area. When the likes of Bill Gates comes to Zanzibar and buys land here, be careful. He has an agenda for you, for your children. If you don't protest and demonstrate now, it may be too late in the future. Do it for Allah's sake. Don't be scared of anyone. Another thing is boycotting different companies to the best of your capacity. Boycotting has an effect. And look at the companies, many people are giving their researches in this area. If you can sponsor someone in the community, groups in the community, to be active in journalism and media studies and social media, for them to be active and for them to spread awareness, these are the means today which can be helpful. If you can't do it yourself, sponsor someone. Add to the awareness of what's happening. Different forms of clothing, badges, emblems, mottos, these things you can start wearing, especially when you're in groups, sharing your solidarity with the Palestinians. Petitions are very important. Sign petitions with hundreds of thousands of people. Give it to the government. It has an effect, has a say. And there may be other things which I've missed out from the list, but these were some of the more important ones. Inshallah, Allah grants us the tawfiq to act on a par with His satisfaction. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala tahirin.